Indeed, and greetings upon you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me here again on another beautiful day. Giving ourselves another opportunity for play, choosing to live in love instead of dismay. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you for joining us, dear Antler. It's been a while, friend. Dancing man. I actually danced yesterday. Like after this stream, I did a little bit of a dance. We did a dance on Wednesday. I'm already looking forward to next Wednesday. I'm significantly lighter than I've ever been. like, so it's easier to dance, which is great. So maybe I'll dance more. Who knows? Thank you, dear Anthony, for joining us. Beloved Shannon, thank you for joining me, sharing this space, for choosing in this moment to play, right? Like, we're not doing this because we're serious, or do we? Maybe we do. Maybe a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of seriousness, but mostly we do this for play. Hey, Sensane saw the dancing yesterday. Great stuff, lol. Sensane, Brother Bear, I've been thinking about you so much. So much. I've been seeing your posts on Instagram and I've been liking them every single. Well, I don't use Instagram much, but when I do go on Instagram, or like your posts or like one of the, I think like because I keep liking them, Instagram is like, oh, must show him a lot of this. So it's like three of your posts in a row, and I tried to like this. So thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing well. What's been going on in your life, Brother Bay? Do share with us if you're willing to. Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful day today. 8 degrees, and I'm all for it. Yeah. Oh, you see, I don't actually know what 80 degrees mean. Like I know that around 100 is like super hot, right? So 80 sounds a little bit more tolerable. But in comparison to like Celsius, like if it's 80 degrees Celsius, you're just like cooking. You'll have to be scraped off of the sidewalk with a spatula. Thank you for joining me, friends. For finding yourself in this moment. I want to talk about play today. Like I like to I like to believe, let's say, that life is the real teacher, and that all that I need to do is be a good student. And the only way to be a good student genuinely is just to pay attention, right? Like you can study, sure. You can, like put in the hours of like grinding the information into your brain. But if you're not paying attention during any of those processes, you're not going to learn much. So, in spirit of that, trying to be the student of life, I always try and bring to you friends whatever message, whatever lesson came into my life in that day. And I build a sense of anxiety in myself sometimes when I do that because by the I mean I have 24 hours, right? Well, depends on how you want to see it. I have 24 hours to come up with a new topic, to come up with a new thing worth saying, to come up with something to bring you friends in this space. And like I put a lot of pressure on myself sometimes. And then I get closer and closer and closer to the eventual moment that we actually have to get hit the go live button, and I get more and more anxious, and then that anxiety makes me more acutely aware, and then that acute awareness leads to me learning the lesson I'm supposed to learn. And it's sometimes it happens literally minutes before we actually have to stream, and I'm like, okay, thank you for the download. So today I basically sat and I meditated, had a bit of a conversation with my mom first about the state of the world when it comes to lying, like how lying is just not something that we do. And it was like from this perspective of like, you don't have to remember that much if you're not lying. Try and be a good person, you don't have to worry about anything. And it was like that conversation we had. And I came outside and I sat, on this cushion, just kind of spending a moment of the birds and looking at the clouds, getting a little bit of UVB light in my eyes and on my skin, if you will. And I was watching Pippi, and Pippi is a very interesting dog. Like she's a Jack Russell, and they're known for their murderous instinct. They really like killing things for some reason. But Pippi doesn't like killing things. She still has that inkling of like, oh, something moves. Let me do something with it. But she doesn't just outright kill them. So like she was basically playing with this frog, and I'm gonna say play for the sake of what it is we're talking about today. And she's playing with this frog, and she grabs it like gently. She doesn't like squish down on it. She like gently bites it or puts it in her mouth and then brings it to a spot and then puts it back down. And then she lays down on her little arms and then she watches it. And the frog hops, 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 and then she pounces back on it, grabs him gently, brings him back to his spot, and then watches him hop, 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 hop. And she pounces him, and then like eventually this poor frog. And I was like really sitting and watching this, going through this whole process of am I supposed to intervene? Am I supposed to do something? I was like putting myself in the perspective of an alien watching humanity eating animals. And I was like, yeah, technically the universe eats itself, so I can't really intervene. And telling myself these stories. And like I just see in her this want, this genuine spirit of play. That is what she's doing. Like she just wants to play. And she's playing with this little frog. And I was wondering if this frog had any inkling that what was happening to him was play, or was he just in a state of complete terror? Like I'm just imagining like, screams of terror as this frog tries to get away from poor Peppy. And eventually I picked the frog up and I put it in the like brush, if you will, so that it has a little bit of a nooks and crannies to hide in. And I get from that whole exchange just this resounding message that the universe is play, and that the universe might, probably will, play you to death. Just like in the same way that Pippi doesn't want to hurt the frog, doesn't have a malicious intent, just wants to experience that play. Life plays with us as well. And it does the most absurd of things sometimes. Sometimes we have these moments of complete separation, or at least experiencing complete separation, be it from our family, from our career choice, from our loved ones, from our friends. And then that brings with it this whole running away, if you will, right? Hopping into a direction, and then life pounces on us again. Brings us back to where we were before, like destroys all of the progress we've made of our forward hopping and brings us back to this moment again. And it's like, okay, go ahead, hop again, see where you're gonna go. Continually bringing us back to this unity, bringing us back to the divinity that we always are. And we're heading there, like even if life plays us to death, you cannot die because you are that living as well. You are that life force on the most fundamental of levels. Maybe spirit is the thing that plays with nature. They're both intertwined, interconnected, and 100% dependent on one another. But just about staying aware, kind of pulling from yesterday a little bit. I'll read a thing we're saying. Mm. May divinity alone dwell within as this creation that I once thought was myself. May divinity alone dwell within and as this creation that I once thought was myself. How's that for play? Thank you, friends, for joining me here. Salty Malalti. We have Lisa here as well. We have Eden. Thank you for joining us, beloved friends. You are like Jar Jar. Thank you, friend. Misa, drink water. Misa, don't have any more Jar Jar references. Thank you, though, friend. I appreciate you seeing some fractals. I see him more as an Obi-Wan figure. Thank you so much, Salty. I appreciate that as well. Hello to you, Helio. Send our beloved. Is it Zenoa? Damn it. Too many fractals. Lilio, thank you for joining us. Send your beloved love from us as well. Thank you. Hello. Glad to see you. Meltmore is holding our pan intact. Actively showing up to make sure None of the bits get to escape. We keep having to melt them. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to have you here again, Salty. Hmm. That's beautiful. Day to day degrees. I think I missed one. Google says like 26 degrees Celsius. That is kind of nice. Need a new strategy going into my job hunt because I realize that the minimum pay I'm allowed to get a visa for because of my age is 58K a year. That is a lot. I really need to be desired. It's a 80K salary in CAD. That's an 80 in Canada. Oh goodness. Play, huh? Like just I want you to sit with this and say, right? Like I feel maybe it's a little bit targeted in this moment, but what I'm seeing is play. Like it might again, it might be the brutal kind of Pippi, capturing this frog in her mouth and then bringing it back into this moment of like complete resignation, surrender, realization of of the nature of play, of like life is like, yeah, it's insane. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna go to the Netherlands, and then life is like, oh, okay, all right, show me. And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm telling you, and then life is like, okay, all right, let's see. Hop, hop, hops over this obstacle, hops over this mental barrier, hops over this problem, and then it gives you another one. Oh yeah, not only do you have all of these obstacles to hop over, but also you have to get 58,000. Is it euros or dollars? 58K. It's probably euros or something a year. Yeah. Why not? Like, isn't your skill set pretty desired though? I do believe so, right, Sensei? Do correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, beloved friends, thank you for joining me. This stream, everything about this stream today is about play, and it's coming from this point in myself of recognizing that the difficulties we go through can just be recognized as a state of play. And it's difficult. It's difficult, and I'll share with you friends again because there's so many of you new friends here now. This message came from watching Peppy. That little. Let me do this. Can you see her? These little shenanigans machine. Peppy long stockings. Peppy long stockings. Nothing. She's chewing a bone. Absolutely every drop of her attention is focused right now. But I was watching her during my meditation today, playing with a frog. And this poor little frog was like trying to hop away, trying to save his own life. And then Pippi would just keep catching him again and then bringing him back into like a position where she knew where he was, and then she would let him hop away, and then just like he got like 3 hops away, and then she would catch him again and bring him back into this moment. And I was just watching this process over and over again, and I was feeling into this space of, should I help the little frog? And I did eventually help the frog, and the frog wasn't injured or had anything broken, fortunately. But I was like putting myself in the position of being an alien, watching this species that is dog brutalize the species that is frog, and I was like really trying to just be aware as I could be. And from that awareness arose this understanding that that is just play personified, right? Like Pippi wants to play with this little frog, but the frog being so much smaller in scale toward or in comparison to her, Pippi will play that frog to death if I don't intervene. And life will play us to death if we don't intervene. And how do we intervene? Do we need to expect something outside of ourselves to intervene for us? Or is it the very life within us that is the thing that will intervene? To realize that it is play, regardless of the nonsense that we kind of have to face, that it is just ultimately play. Hmm. Did you lead yoga again today? I did, Shannon. I led yoga, but it was a silent practice, so I didn't have to say that much. I did get to like guide us with some music after the practice, so that was amazing though. Good morning, Candice. So nice to have you here. We were talking about you yesterday. Day before yesterday? I think maybe yesterday. Like I would like for you to contribute if you'd be willing to the tattoo design that I'll eventually put on my body. Did you lead yoga again today? Euros, yeah. My skill set is desired. If I was going for an energy section position, but I'm going for a new industry, gotta get it on my cognitive. So you see, well, again, what I'm seeing is insane. Is like, yes, this is the game I want to play. He says to life, and life is like, but this is the game you're gonna be expected to play. And then insane is like, no, I don't want to play that game. You're not my dad. Dude, I feel it completely, dude. Like, and I respect it. I also respect it, and I encourage you to continue with that mindset of like, yeah, I could go and do this thing, surely, but because this is what I want for myself, because this is the obstacle, the direction that I want to hop in, even though eventually we'll be reunited with divinity, and this is all just play. I get to choose which game I want to play. So please, keep playing the game, brother bear. Keep doing you. Melbar, Jar Jar. Nice, beautiful. Thank you, SDPA. Hello to you, Omex. Oh my goodness, X Chill. Lovely shirt and energy. Lovely you. Thank you, friend. I'm just trying to reflect back to you. What is within you? What is divinity to you? Divinity is the word I use when I try to address the part of ourselves that is beyond the human, right? We have this ability to be creative. So, backtrack a little bit. There is this understanding that the all is mind, right? And I'm not saying this understanding is 100% the way it is, and I'm not encouraging you to believe that. I'm just bringing this understanding for you to ponder. So, if the all is mind, as in within everything, there is this energy of consciousness, this energy of mind, this energy of presence, of awareness. How would that entity, that ultimate power create? So from a state of consciousness, from a state of mind, you won't create by using something outside of yourself, like taking a tree, cutting it into, planks, and then using those planks to build a cupboard or a chair, for example, right? Because then you need something external from you in order to create something. Mind would also not create in procreation, as in, mind wouldn't need a female mind to procreate with to have the idea that is the child. Mind creates from itself in a ceaseless, imaginative way. And we as human beings have that power. Like, we have limited influence when it comes to our physical existence. We have more influence when it comes to our emotional existence, but we have most influence when it comes to our spiritual existence. And being able to imagine things, like if I start saying, let's imagine a beautiful flower, choosing your favorite color, seeing the flower as that favorite color, imagining your favorite number as the amount of petals that this flower has, imagining your favorite bug buzzing around this flower, sitting on top of it. Each and every single one of us in this moment had a completely different reality, had a completely different experience, had a completely different, unique, divine, ceaseless creation. And I believe that part of ourselves is divinity, because, like, it's so beyond just what the human is capable of normally, at least in my opinion. Like, how can I as a human be capable of creating something that has never been? So I think of it as, you're, as a human, tuning into what consciousness is, and from that place, from that divinity, all information flows through you, instead of you being the ultimate generator of that information. Thank you for asking, Lisa. I hope you like the answer, or feel the answer, I would rather say. Singin, Sinjin 2.0. I don't know who Sinjin is, but thank you for the love, friend. This guy is great. Love him. Thank you, Kevin. Love you, friend. Do you always wear the flowered shirts just for broadcasts? What do the patterns mean for your mental state? Cerebral dormancy. You friends are asking such beautiful questions today. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing such beautiful, thoughts. So, let me tell you about an exchange instead of just telling you about my mental state. So after I got dressed and I was preparing for my yoga, this your morning, like an hour ago, I got ready and I got dressed, and this is the way. Let me do a little bit of a. Huh? There you go. So I got dressed and I came into the living room. My mom was on the couch, and my mom is like very, I want to say, fashion oriented. Like she's very much one of those where like certain colors go together, and you're not allowed to put like too crazy pattern things together. And like she has all of these rules to how you're supposed to be dressing, and I trying to be, a little bit of that chaos where my mom tries to be the order. I do the opposite. I'm like, yeah, just throw all of the crazy into one melting pot and then be that. And she was like, oh, she was like looking at me like kind of frowning, like that's a little bit much, don't you think? And I was like, this is it's only but a fraction of what's going on inside here, where it's so this is but a small representation for someone to even have like an inkling to see on the on the outside what could be going on the inside. And that being said, let me attach up more layers of awareness. Like the fact that I'm wearing orange today means, at least to me, that I'm living into my sacral, the orange part, the orange chakra, where your emotions, your creativity, your sexuality is found. And I'm trying to almost like actively live into that energy. Flowers is something that I love, especially since I identify with the spirit of the butterfly. So there is so much, right? And you being aware of that and you being willing to ask that, I appreciate that, friend. Thank you for asking. Like I don't know. And the thing is as well, as we continue into the future, into infinity, the meaning is going to keep changing. What my mental state is every single time I see one of these shirts, I can think about all of the times I've worn that shirt, all of the things I've said wearing this shirt, and I can imagine, like in the very fiber, in the very atoms that hold up this shirt, that make it up right now, in the information that we are sharing in this space is being encoded in it, and it carries some sort of magical essence. In my mind, I'm not saying that's the way it is. In my mind, I like to believe stuff like that because it gives just a little bit more infinity to everything. Thank you again, friend. What's up to you, Untitled? It's nice to have you here, friend. My skill set is desired. The company that gives me a shot is the one who is gonna gain the most. Oh yes, it's insane. I wish I could hire you, but I don't have 58,000 euros just yet. Maybe one day. I'll give you 100,000 euros a year, dude. Like you're worth at least that, but only when I have it, brother bear. Like I would like to have Sinsen on my team. What's up, man? That sounds great, Mel. I'll join one of these days. I look forward to having you there. Thank you, Shannon. I'm heading out to skate. Talk to you later. Cheers, cheers, insane. Have a good one. Great day. Hey, thank you for the helpful, Lilio. And thank you, Tahoe. Tahoe and Lilio are the ones. There we go. Thank you, Tahoe, for the wholesome friend. We have Sandwich joining us again. Good afternoon, dude. I wondered after seeing you on a stream before, are you in your garden or in a park or something? Technically, we're in the garden. Technically. But I live on a farm in South Africa. So, like, I live in this kind of far top right state in South Africa. And in that far right top state, close to a very small town that has like one high school, and the neighboring towns send their kids to our high school. And then on top of that, I live like 30 kilometers away from that small town. So I'm like in the middle of nowhere. So far away from normal civilization. And yet, here we are, with access to the internet with these mobile devices that we can actually share these moments. Thank you for finding yourself here, friend. Good afternoon. May you all have a relaxing, judgment free Sunday, Earth Week. Thank you for being the expression of Earth and for joining us here. You have a joyful spirit. That is so nice. Over, down, yonder. Thank you for sharing in this joy with me, friend. Kira Burb joining us as well with peace, love, rainbows. I feel like rainbows is in a lot of ways, and a depiction of unity as well, because it's like white light being scattered into the different spectrums. So it's the other side of that unity. It's like, oh, look, united, but so many different spectrums. Same way that we are, friends. Thank you for the energy, Professor Goo. I'm still waiting for that message, my friend. Wanted to drop in and say hi. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm heading off to nap for a bit. Super tired today. I love you all, and I'm thinking of you all. Heather, sleep in, friend. Get your rest. You are loved. Chris, thank you for joining us. Day 479, huh? Nice. Yes, thank you, Fred. I'm really enjoying it. It's been such a process. How are you doing, Brother Bear? How's school treating you? Are you sleeping enough, Chris? Oh wow, just noticed the pants. Rock on. Thank you so much, Ninja Peach. Where's your accent from, if you don't mind? Is it Australian? No, mate, it's not Australian. I am from South Africa. I am. I'm from South Africa, friend. Thank you for asking. What are you drinking, mate? I need some of that. You do, friend. Like you won't believe. So I want to actually like brand name this super original H2O drink, but unfortunately, it's so abundant that everybody has access to it. So I was like, oh well, guess it's just water, friend. But you do need it. You are right. I remember you, bro. Clever name I made. I remember you as well, actually. Thank you for joining us again, friend. How are you doing? You Dutch, bro? Close. Afrikaans, technisch. Good day to you, Auntie. We need who needs tears. We have who needs tears here as well. Hey, Melty. Hey, y'all. Do you ever embrace your mom's version of style, or have you always embraced this style? What inspired the transition to dressing with all the lovely patterns? Um, I think honestly, really honestly, who needs tears? Psychedelic festivals. Like I grew up in a very small town, like where everybody knows everybody and everybody knows what's going on in everybody's lives, and you can't do anything without being talked about in town. And that's just the nature of small towns. And I was like at one point in my life, like especially during my third like 12, 13, 14, 15s 15s, like at during those like four-ish years, I was like I had this notion of like, yes, the clothes I want to wear is like Quicksilver and Fox, and like it was like those surfer brands, like for some reason in my mind I was drawn to these surfer brands, and that was like the clothing that I asked my mom for, if you will. Then I grew up a little bit. I turned 16. I got into a relationship. And then I started dressing in like something called Daniel Hechter. It's like an offshoot brand of a generic brand here in South Africa, like a local brand. And they had a little bit more stylized, like pretty high quality material clothing. And I could, get like a few shirts and it would last me like 3 years. So like I was asking my mom for clothes like that. And then I started working as a salesman, and I was expected to wear these long sleeve shirts, and I had to, gel my hair down, comb it back, look very professional. I fortunately didn't wear any ties. Like that would have been a little bit too much, but I felt really stagnant in dressing in the same five shirts every single week, basically, with tight pants or, long pants, and I was just like, something something feels off. And like during this whole process of me kind of like getting into this monotonous grind of, okay, I'm dressing in a certain way for work, and then I'm pretending to be a certain person for work because I was a salesman. I had to, wear the hat of a salesman, and I had to pretend to like things that my client liked, and etc., etc., etc. And then I met these friends, and these friends were aliens, let's call them, actual aliens living on planet Earth, and they were aware enough of the fact that they were aliens, and they were nonconformists, if you will. And I was at this point in my life, I feel very curious, very open to information, but I didn't necessarily know that there were other people curious and open to information in the same way that I was. And upon meeting these friends, for the first time, I felt like I could have conversations that have been on my mind, but people just didn't entertain. Like I would try and have a conversation with someone, and they would just be like, And I would be like, isn't that interesting to you? And they're like, no. And then I made friends who were like, oh, that's interesting. Let's have a conversation about it. And there was this back and forth between us. And then these friends, started taking me to psychedelic festivals. And these psychedelic festivals, like initially, I was like just wearing pretty much what I at that point in my life, what I thought was expected of me, to wear like tank tops, if you will, and shorts, if you will. I was like, oh well, guess guess it's hot in South Africa, so it does make logical sense to wear tank tops. But that was basically my style. And then I got into dancing. Like when I started going to these music festivals with these friends, and I discovered a passion for dancing inside of myself that I like never knew. We don't dance here in like South Africa in the way that you can dance in a Psytrance festival. Like we have something called socky, where you hold someone and you're like, and I'm like, oh, I have to hold on to someone, and they have to understand how I'm gonna move, and then there is this awkwardness of, yeah, there was just too much dancing with a person for me, and I fell in love with dancing alone. And then a part of this process, a part of me getting to have these conversations, a part of me being able to dance, I also got to like, being able to dance also comes along with that sense of non-judgment that you get in those spaces where people are, you can arguably say, so in tune or so out of it that they don't really care. They don't care what you do because they realize that you are having the same experience that they're having, and all they can do is have their experience and let you have yours. And being able to see that in people, being able to feel that, being able to dance and express myself in a way that I've never been able to before. A friend of mine was wearing one of these scarves, and I was like, can I use this? Can I wear the scarf? I love this friend so much, Adam. I love him so much, and he still is in a lot of ways someone that I look up to, and I'm very inspired by. And I was like, can I wear your scarf? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I put the scarf on, and I'm going dancing, and I'm hopping up and down, and the scarf like is like, and then it starts falling off of my neck. And before it hits the ground, I catch it, and I whip it back up. And upon whipping it back up, I can see just the geometry of my movement, folding out into this, little scarf as it goes up, and then gravity brings it down, and I move it again. And I was like, huh, interesting. And I start dancing with this scarf, and I feel so in tune. I feel like I have this ability to express myself in even more depth. And I dance with this scarf to the point of like exhaustion, and I calm down, and I put the scarf back around my neck, and I walk into my friend, and I want to give him the scarf back, and he stops me, and he's like, no, that's your scarf now. And I was like, what? What, mine? No, it's your scarf. And he's like, nope, that's your scarf now. And I still have it, and I wear it occasionally. This is the one of the Bob Marley, the yellow, black, and green one. There might be some, yeah, red, yellow, green, and black. I think those are the primary colors. And a part of that process allowed me to express myself, to wear these oddities with a sense of pride instead of feeling like I'm doing something out of the ordinary. And then when we basically decided to start these streams, I made this conscious decision to want uh, a certain like wardrobe, I guess the word would be. So I asked my mom if we can go to the store and actually get myself shirts, because at that point I haven't bought clothing in like 4 years. And I got myself, I think, 10 shirts. And I've been wearing those 10 shirts for the last 479 days. So it's been my style for the last 479 days that I've chosen for myself. Thank you for asking, friend. Man, you friends are asking such beautiful questions. You don't ever hear yourself, do you? It's a good question, friend. Do I hear myself? Do I see myself? I won't say I don't ever, but I feel I could be doing more. How about you, Clever? Hey man, the stream is new to me. Lovely vibes. Just don't even worry. Lovely vibes back to you. Thank you for joining us here, friend. I do this every day. Thank you for the thorough answer, as always. Loving nature around you. You were where you brought up to be in touch with your spirituality. You mentioned about your mom. I wonder if she is similar. My family is Orthodox Christian, and they, at least my dad and my siblings, disapprove of my way of seeing the world because the devil is influencing me. The devil is whispering all of the sweet nothings in my ear, apparently, and that's why I'm the way I am. So, like I don't give any credence. I believe that divinity and the possibility for evil is within every single one of us, and you just get to choose which part of yourself you want to live into. But alas, I didn't, grow up, unfortunately, with a spiritual understanding of life. More so, a guilt-based. You are nothing, and you need this thing, this divinity, this entity outside of yourself in order to be saved. And it's been a process. And I feel if I didn't get raised that way, if I didn't grow up being told these things, I wouldn't have, seeked different information. I wouldn't be the person I am today. So I wouldn't change it even if I could. Maybe that's why I always had a hard time being friends with people my own age. I always gravitated to people that were older than me because I could have more meaningful conversations with them. Interestingly enough, Shannon, all of those friends that I mentioned were like, I think 4 to 5 years older than me as well. And there was this, like running joke where people would, be like, we're having these conversations, and then they would just be like, "Hey, did you know Melt is 20?" And they're like, "No, no way, Melt can't be 20." I'm like, "Oh, I'm a kid. I'm still a kid. I'm still a kid. I'm just 23 right now." I've seen you stream. You have? Thank you for sharing the love, friend. I caught you on stream the other day. Lovely. Don't worry. Love is being shared. Soviet Slamming, good morning to you, friend. Thank you for joining us as well. And others. Gavity Goo giving us a starstruck. So nice to see you. Thank you for joining us for the bear. Yep, same. I feel it completely, Shannon. Like, the older you get, the more things you were allowed to be aware of, the more things you see. The more things you see, the more aware you get. The older you get, the more... So like I do feel where you're coming from, and I wonder if there's a cutoff point, right? Like there's a certain point where someone is so much older than you, where there is a disconnect again. At least, from uh, not everybody, like everything, not everybody, but the majority, unfortunately, has been that way for me. Every single person can teach you something because they see the world from a perspective that you have never seen it. Need to remind myself of that as well. Silly, but I'm glad I made you laugh. That's beautiful, friend. Be glad about that. It's not silly whatsoever. Everything is on the hill. I'm just cleaning all the random stuff Uncle Becky has put all in the yard during when the rain comes. Goodness. Thank you for being such a trooper, Aunt B. Everything's in quiet. Something will go wrong. The house chores and kiddo responsibilities. So grateful that I am able. Goodness. Thank you for that. Just a moment to be grateful, to be able, right? The fact that you can be, that you can feed yourself, that you can look into the world, that you can smell, you can breathe, that you are able to do all of these things. Thank you, Aunt B, for a moment of that. Earth is loving the rain and sunshine. Oh, yes. Best way to get past envy. Young Kel. Hmm. Okay. So from what I felt, I feel the best way to deal with envy is just to recognize the other person as yourself. And it's difficult. It is difficult, but again, you can do like a bunch of reduction steps. If you keep melting away the things you think you are, what you're left with is just pure consciousness. All right, it's the ultimate awareness of what you are observing, the fact that you are peering into this universe right now. And then if you're seeing someone else experiencing something that you want to be experiencing, and there grows this sense of envy inside of you because they're experiencing it and I'm not experiencing it, just realizing that you are in fact experiencing it. It might not be you as you are right now, but it is the fundamental you as the awareness that you are. And being able to celebrate that instead of being envious of that, of like, goodness, that person gets to be happy. That's fantastic. That is so wonderful. That person gets to live the life of their dreams. That person gets to marry the women of their, imagination. That person gets to have beautiful children, gets to work the job that they've always wanted. Good for them. Like, fantastic for them, because that means that their awareness, the same awareness that you are within in this moment, is experiencing, is aware of something beautiful. And if we can encourage more of that beautiful awareness, the world becomes a more beautiful place by default. Thank you, Young Kel, for asking that question, friend. Thanks for asking. It is 2:30 a.m. and I woke up, so now I'm roaming around the kitchen, eating food and smoking ween. Lamal. How's yours? I'm pretty sure you meant weed, but I like kind of calling weed ween. You want to smoke some ween? Maybe it's like a combination between lean and weed. That sounds like a horrible idea. I believe it could be simple. It just has a way of piling up on me. But I will continue practicing doing what I can with what I have, where I am. This is the way. Aunt B, thank you so much. Mosmiri Mosmissy says, "Hey Melt, it's been a minute. Good to see you. Love from Australia. Thank you for being up so late, friend. I hope you're having an amazing Sunday. I'm guessing your Sunday is basically finished. I hope you had an amazing Sunday. Thank you for joining us, Moss. How are you doing, friend? My family are the most judgmental people on me, but not on themselves. And I'm getting nutty about it. How long do you have left, Lisa? Like I'm imagining Lisa in like this, like the first word came to mind is insane asylum. And I was like, no, insane asylum is a little bit brutal, dude. You can't say that. But that's what my mind generates. Like Lisa is just like trying to be the most zen version of herself, as she's being slowly but surely melted away, trying to focus on her awareness, trying to keep her ego at bay. I can only imagine how long do you have to keep going, Lisa? Amazing. Sweaty over here. Hope you'll get some rest, call them out and advocate for yourself. If only it was that easy. God. Sometimes, like, at least what I've noticed, right? Like, if you are willing to call someone out, they are very likely to make it your fault again. It's like, yeah, sure, you called me out on this and this, but this and this because you so and so, because you did this and this, that's why I'm doing so and so. So me doing so and so is actually not as bad as you having done that and that. So that makes me in the winning position here and you're losing, right? And I can see it, Lisa. I'm so sorry, but we experience it. I think that is also a form of play. And if you can notice that, it's a little bit easier to try and stay just aware and just watch that state of play. And I was like, oh, okay, this again. All right. I don't think age dictates connection and friendship. One of my good friends is 95. I'm not even close to her age. That is a beautiful thing for me to hear. Thank you so much for sharing it. Who needs tears? Man, the amount of stories and perspective you must hear and see in her eyes and face, I can only imagine. I don't think I've ever spoken to a person that old. The oldest person I've spoken to was, I think, 82, but I didn't really speak to her. It was a Chinese lady that I met in China. Like, one of my students' parents wanted to take me fishing, and I went with them. We went to like this like super rural area in China. Like, there was nothing, just like these small little farms. And like we were fishing, and I caught the biggest fish, of course. Like out of all of the people there, I catched like, I mean, it's like a fish this big, but all of the rest of them caught like fishes this big, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I can catch fish. Just our ego trying to like pat our backs a little bit. But I was feeling really good about that fish I caught. And then literally after catching that fish, and me still being in this giddy excitement, they bring this 82-year-old like Chinese lady to me, and they're like, this Chinese lady has never seen a white person in her life, and I get to be this person that she gets to see, and there is this exchange where I go to greet her. I'm like, hello, and I reach out my hand to shake her hand, and she like backtracks, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just saying hello. I was trying to be proper. Trying to be polite. So like that was the oldest person I've ever met. And like in the same way, I could see all of the wisdom, I could see all of the love that she has shared with her family. I could see just fractals, fractals in this person's eyes. And I was like so curious about the fractal that I was inducing in her, the role I was playing in that moment. Surreality. Thank you, friend, for asking. Good morning, brother Isaac. I was missing you in yoga today. I was like, where is Isaac? I was thinking about you so hard, brother Bay. I'm not saying like you have to apologize for anything. I'm just letting you know that I was thinking about you, brother Bay. I love you so much. Thank you for joining us. I was like thinking about you, noticing that you're not there, and then after noticing you're not there, my mind was like imagining you on a hammock smoking a joint. That's why you're not there. And I was like, okay, that's good. That's good. Apologies for missing the yoga. No, I just told you not to apologize. How dare you? Isaac, so lovely to see you here today. How was your nature walk yesterday? I was thinking about it as well, friend. No, brother Bear. Again, it wasn't not I wasn't saying it because I was trying to guilt you or anything. I just wanted you to know that you were felt in my heart, and I was thinking about you, brother Bear. Is your chest hairy? No, my chest is not hairy, friend. I did not get the genes for the good hairs on the rest of my bodies. Have you, when you say we decided to make these streams, who us? I'm curious, Mel. Who is us? I'm curious, Mel. When you say we decided to make these streams, who is us? I'm curious. I'm guessing that's what you're asking, Lisa. Oh, like the question is boggling my mind for some reason. Us is literally what we think of as a unity, right? So instead of me believing that these streams are just me, surely I'm showing up for them every single day. And if I stop doing that, then suddenly this isn't anymore. So I'm playing a role. But in that I'm playing a role, right? Like if this is now a spaceship that we're flying towards a new state of existence, a new world, if you will. Every single one of us has a role to play. One person needs to fly the rocket ship, for example. We need engineers that can fix things. We need people that can, grow things so we can have food to eat. We need people that can take care of human beings, medical experts. Every single one of us plays a role. And in that way, we are deciding to make these streams, Lisa. Like it's not something that I can do alone. It's something we do together. Right, you are Kekon. Interesting name. Shannon, it was amazing. I went on a long walk on an extremely warm day, found a perfectly shady area by the lake, and away from the path, I hung my hammock and I smoked my joint and ate a snack. I got schmacked and saw a cool snake. My phone died, so I got lost on the way home, but I found a family dollar. Bought a cheap charger, and I got home. A family dollar. I'm guessing that's like a little store. Bought a charger and got home. It was a whole adventure. Thank you for asking. Thank you for telling us, Isaac, for giving us a little window into the fractal that is Isaac. So yeah, think just that moment, right? Like one of the things that we like to encourage one another to imagine and to understand in the space is that every single one of us has an infinite amount of fractal experiences that Isaac got to have this adventure where he went into nature, got to be with the trees, got to be with the water, got to, hang a hammock, got to smoke a joint and eat a snack as he was just like embracing, these nature vibes. And then afterwards, he got lost, so it's like this, tranquility, love, joy. And then life was like, okay, that was a lot of good stuff. How about you get lost a little bit? Let's see what you do. Let's see how you do if you get lost a little bit. Thank you for allowing us to see that. It's so beautifully in tune with today's, topic as well. Life is play. Like that is play to me if I've ever seen it. It sounds way better than rock wall climbing. Oh yes, yeah, dollar store. It was out. I was out alone for hours in the woods. It was amazing. So many critters. I'll share pics on the Discord soon. I swear, Isaac. Everything within infinity. You are loved, Brother Bay. Thank you for sharing with us. I am in my mid 30s, and most of my friends are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. It's nice sometimes, though, to give someone else the opportunity to be your younger friend. There can be beautiful exchanges there, too. Do I have any younger friends? I mean, I feel my youngest friend right now is Lane, weirdly enough. And I guess my cousin could be one of my friends as well. He's 13, and it's been a process talking to him as well. Do I have any young friends? My brother, I guess I could see as a friend. Me and my brother are good friends at this point. We have a very loving relationship. Maybe I should get more younger friends, Ninja Peach. I made it with 5 minutes. We had to get to the fish store before it closed, but we have a new fishy friend. She's beautiful. Dude, like I literally yesterday noticed, in the yoga that you have a fish tank, and I wanted to say something about it, but we were talking about so many things already that I didn't want to, go into a new tangent, and then you bring it into this moment. I thank you for sharing. We also had fish at one point in my life, and it was such a beautiful thing. And then we went on vacation, and I think our circulator, or the thing that puts bubbles in the water, kind of stopped working, and our fish suffocated. It was traumatizing. I was like 5. I'm so happy you had such a great experience, even though you got lost. I can't wait to see the pics. Thank you, Shannon, for that encouragement, friend. So much love. Young Curl, thank you, friend. Love you, sister. Look who it is. It's the merman himself. So, Mr. Merman, who is, I don't know if he's still in stream with us, but I was thinking about him today when I actually put the scarf on, him and Stephanie. And Mer Mama, I still have that blanket as well. And this is a scarf that he sent me all the way from America. Thank you, Merman, for being here with me, Brother Bay, and for being here with me. Merman! What a struggle with most is when I what I struggle with most is when I allow myself to do the things or have the experience. It is so disappointing to others. I cannot combat the guilt feeling that I am working on treating myself as I would others with love and understanding. It's so disappointing to others that I cannot combat the guilt feeling that I am working on treating myself as I would others with love and understanding. I'm a little bit confused. I'm so sorry, Aunt B. What I struggle with most is when I allow myself to do the things or have that experience. It's so disappointing to others. I cannot combat the guilt feeling. It's all play, Aunt B. And sometimes we play the role of reducing ourselves, sometimes we play the role of overinflating ourselves. But at the end of the day, we can just be here in this moment, right? So, like, I know it's difficult, but what other people think about you really doesn't matter. Not nearly as much as what you think about you matters. Oh, Reddit side as well. Thank you so much for the bear. Isaac is sending love to you, Reddit friends. Oh, Mel, that one is my leopard gecko tank. Oh, okay. I have the saltwater fish tank as well. I have a little gecko named Butters, of course. How freaking cute. I was actually today talking to my mom and my dad about these lizards. Like, we have these brown lizards with these little lines on their backs, and we've had them for a long time. But now, with the amount of excess and bugs, they're getting big. And I saw one that is like basically this big, you know. And I was like, I've never seen one that big. And I came in, and we call them akadessa. And I was like, there is an akadude, like chilling, in the little baking house. So cool seeing him around as well. Like pets, but they get to be wild. Shannon and I get out there and represent the tubes. Thank you so much, Isaac. We got to make sure to spread the love over here too. And you do, friends. Thank you for sharing love with me in this moment. It's funny, I'm old and I gravitate to your youth and fresh ideas. Shannon, Estian, basically everyone, probably. Lisa, and I appreciate you for that so much. I feel, if it wasn't for you embracing this energy, how could we ever expect ourselves to change? And that is where the whole living too long thing comes in as well. Like I don't know if I should live 1,000 years, even though I would like to live 1,000 years. Not because I'm scared of dying. I've had that at least I've gotten very close to those experiences, and it's not something I'm scared of anymore. But being able to experience the awe and the beauty of this experience for as long as I can would be amazing. But then there comes the understanding of people don't change, people's ideas don't change, they just die. And you being willing, instead of dying, if you will, like we were like literally bringing in a playful way this understanding that life will play you to death, and instead of getting rolled by this play that we're in right now, Lisa, you're choosing to play with us, and I appreciate you so much for that. Distracting from their own shortcomings by focusing on others, how frustrating. How human, though. How human. Hot sauce is the best. It can spice up a meal. You're right. Miari to you, Savina. Thank you for joining us. Agreed, Melt. Calling it out helps me with clarity sometimes, but it often backfires in a spiral of gaslighting. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I just don't anymore, Aunt B. I'll 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 be mildly passive aggressive about it. I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll just say that so that they can think for themselves. I don't have to say things to you because I know because you're just as divine as I am. And you're just choosing not to see. So by me saying something that I'm seeing, but not saying what I'm seeing, you have to see for yourself. And I like, just for example, yesterday, I had to help my dad carry a tank of like propane, an empty tank of propane to the car. And like the tank is like, so I'm a little bit of a clean freak, like this is well known about me and my family. I cannot handle being dirty, especially not my hands. Like I get a little bit compulsively. I'll legit, if I'm doing something that makes my hands dirty, I'll do the thing, wash my hands, do the thing again, get my hands dirty again, wash my hands again. And I'll go back and forth like that. I know I'm not supposed to be like that, but unfortunately I cannot help it. So my dad calls me. He asks me to help him carry this thing, and it's literally before I'm streaming. So I've already gotten dressed, I've already had my shower, already cleaned up so I can come and stream. And he's like asking me to carry this tank, and we walk up to the tank, and I'm watching him to see if he's going to be aware enough or if he's going to practice awareness. And he gives me the dirty side of the tank, and I'm like, I just say like, huh, of course. I say something like that, and he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh no, nothing. And then I just leave it. Like I could have an exchange there easily. I could easily have an exchange there, but instead I was just like, oh, of course, more play. Sure, life. This too, this too. Just making sure my dad isn't sitting on the couch. Like there was another moment of this where I was like sitting in an state of meditation, thinking about what I want to say today about the state of play of the world. And then I hear my dad sending a voice note to someone else, I think someone from church. And my dad is like, jy kan stuur vir my 'n voice note van jou hoop en jou drome, wat jy wil hê, hoe jy die wêreld sien. Ek is meer as bereid om te luister. Ek sal jou hoor. Basically translating into send me a message of your hopes and dreams, the stuff you want of life. I'm more than willing to listen, with an open heart. But my dad hasn't listened to one, not one of my streams. I've done 479 of them. Not one. My dad watches hours of YouTube a day. Won't spend a moment to listen to me, but he'll listen to people from church. He'll and like he was telling him to send him this message, like to talk to him, because my dad wanted to help him in some way, and I honor and I respect that. But then hearing that, and it wasn't, he didn't even know that I heard him say that, but just hearing my dad being willing to listen to someone, someone out there in the world, but not being willing to listen to me, again, I was like, and then I was like, oh, play, more play. Life is like, oh, let's sprinkle some of this bullshit. And then I'm like, oh, getting hit by all the bullshit, and I'm like, yeah, I could, like fall down and roll in the bullshit, or I could shake myself off, have a shower, and then just move on with my life. Thank you, Adbi. Thank you for being yourself. Have you ever been broke? I'm broke right now. Well, I'm not. I'm not really broke. Well, unless, what do you consider broke, friend? Not having enough money to buy the things you think you want, is that broke? Not having enough money to eat food, is that broke? So I've been broke, right? Like in the not having enough money to eat food. When I was a salesman, like I was getting paid $350 a month. That was my salary, $350 a month, and I $200 of that salary went to my living, and then I had $150 to eat food. So at the end of the week, if I didn't, get any good commissions or sales, I would just, at the end of the month, the last few days of the week, not eat food. And I was like, yes, I'm fasting. I don't need to eat food every day because it's good for you to fast. And I was like, yo, logicking myself out of depression, basically. So yes, I have been broke, friend. And I, weirdly enough, was very happy during that time of my life as well, because of the friends that I had. Even though I couldn't afford anything, I still don't have the means to buy anything that I really want, but I know that that is temporary. And I feel it's so important for me to be happy and joyous without any of those things in these moments. Thank you for asking, Clever. Mm-mm. Gotta spread that love. I totally understand. I can't stand getting anything on my hands. I don't even like having lotion on my hands. I don't either. Interestingly enough, like Shannon, I also don't like even having lotion. Same. I loved eating ribs as a kid, but was so anal about my hands. I'd wash them incessantly and use so many paper towels. That is exactly me, dude. Like point for point. Like I'll have like a tower of like paper towels afterwards. I'm sorry, Mel. That's so frustrating. What you do is incredible, and he will see it in time. I have no doubts, friend. I'm not worried. Thank you, brother Isaac. It's just, again, like I wasn't saying it from this perspective of like, oh, I feel sorry for me, just from, I could feel like that, or like, oh, story, 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 story about my victimhood, in that moment, and then instead I was like, oh, that's funny, life. You freaking got me. I got this close to getting worked up, but I did it. I like to spend some love. I'd like to send some love to my friend Justin. He's going through the toughest season of his life. Had an incredible conversation, but a heavy one last night. The streams speak to it. Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. We're in tune, Mother Bay. I'm tripping out, dude. Like I can't imagine the amount of synchronicities that we induce in these streams. Like we're going through, as a collective humanity, through these things, but these things manifest in so many different fractal variations that I cannot tell you how to live your life. I can only share what I've noticed in mine, and then from that sharing you can notice things if inside of yourself, and that's how we grow together. Yes, me too. I feel bad going through so many paper towels, but I can't stand them being red or damp. Good for you, Mel. I'll be able to let that feeling go and not let it get to you. Shannon, love to you, friend. Love is true, and I do remind myself of that as well. It's just like, yeah, but love is true. And then I'm like, oh, okay, fine, you got me there. And then I let it go again. But it can be difficult. Azzy Mutton Two best friends have never traveled outside town. One goes to see the world for a year and he comes back. Now they have nothing to talk about anymore. Same with psychedelics. How interesting, friend. Because there was that with me as well. You know, when I initially returned from China, I had a hard time talking to my friends. There was like a disconnect because of the amount of experience I had in China. Like I became a whole new person. I had to become a whole new person, otherwise I wouldn't have survived. And then I came back as that person, and I actually had a friend literally tell me that you have changed too much, and we have grown too far apart for us to be friends anymore, Azimatin. So the fact that you say that, it's trippy. But again, trying to see it today and instead of play, being aware, being aware. Thank you, friend, for bringing to my awareness. Melt opening his heart space. You, friend, joining me in it. Thank you. I laughed so freaking loud at Insane Asylum. They are leaving tomorrow. They will create a new worry. Which will create a new worry. Are you gonna be worried about them leaving? Like their travel? Man, that dude is making a lot of noise. Hey! 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 Hey, dude! Stop! Hey! Hey! Hey, bro! Bro! I don't know what we call them. They're these birds that have these long little legs, and they kind of lay their eggs in the ground. They make a little nest in the ground and they lay them there, and then they'll make those sounds, and then you'll get close to them, and they'll keep like kind of like trying to lure you away. They'll like land on the ground and then walk very slowly, and then if you get closer to them, they'll walk a little bit faster, and they'll keep trying to guide you away from their eggs. But they are pretty loud. Have you ever been? Yeah, I have, friend. Hi, I'm Hunky Boy. Nice to meet you, Hunky Boy. Thank you for joining us, friend. Are you a mermom doing lately? I hope you're doing well. Life is play. Life is play, friend. You are playing a role. You are pretending to be clever name I made. I'm pretending to be Meltmore. I'm pretending to be 44. I'm pretending to be a butterfly. I'm pretending to be the masculine and the feminine. I'm pretending to be time. I'm pretending to be both sides of the infinity. But I am. In the same way that you are, friend, on the most fundamental level, playing. We're here to play. Oh, I'm gonna stub my toe and get hurt. Oh, ouch. Ooh, it hurts. Ooh. Oh. So convinced. So convinced. The play is so realistic that you are 100% convinced. It is that unanonymous human experience of feeling lost in the rapids. We try our best to acknowledge and see past it in the moment, but those moments can be so painful in a bonding experience. That message didn't make as much sense as I was typing. God damn, marijuana. No, dude. It's exactly what it needs to be, Brother Bay. You know, like maybe one of our friends, maybe like there's someone within this infinity that we're experiencing right now that was like, yes, fuck yeah. I needed to hear that. So thank you, Brother Bear, for joining us with the marijuanas. Terry Pratchett wrote a book, Terry Pratchett is G, about all the essential personnel leaving Earth and the rest behind in a spaceship. They built their own and arrived at the same time, at the same planet, on the other side. It is, in many ways, better and worse than the King of Flies. Terry Pratchett is a really cool dude. Like, if you wanna, like, when it comes to his way of writing, it's beautiful. Like the things that he brings up. Like he has this book. I think it's Death. I think it's just Death. Maybe it's Death. Might not be. Like you friends will know if you read Terry Pratchett. But the book starts off with him going into these different perspectives, you know, where things are complaining that because of the younger generation, things are so wrecked and they really miss the times when things were so and so. And it does it with trees and it does it with bugs and it does it with like meerkats. All of these creatures complaining about, oh yeah, things used to be so great and now things are ass. You know, not being willing to acknowledge that they might have been the cause of things being ass or them aging, having less of a good experience because they are aged, could be the reason they have all of these opinions about the state of reality. Terry Pratchett has a cool, way of seeing the world as well. Be patient. He's not read through the comments yet, friend. Thank you, friend, for letting him know. Are you baked? No, I'm not. I got a workbook on dialectic behavior therapy skills. It is a practical exercise for learning mindfulness and interpersonal effectiveness, emotional regulation, and distress tolerance. Definitely piqued my interest reading the reviews. That sounds amazing, actually. Like, just those things are things that will serve you in everyday life, no matter who you talk to. So I 100% encourage you with that. Read your comment in one moment. That I will, that I have. Thank you, friend. We as a collective, Melt family. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Lisa. You are so welcome. Handsome. You wear it well, and it's the color of your aura, I'm pretty sure. Thank you, Brother Bay. I appreciate the love you share so much. Inflate these nuts. You got him, friend. You got him. We are, as we make commitments, others depend on you, and with good reason. Wow, that was funny. I was also leaning into it. Thank you, Aunt B, for also being so playful. I know that my responsibilities, I know what my responsibilities are, so I guess ultimately I get upset with myself for not doing better, truthfully. If anything, Aunt B, in these responsibilities, I see, thank you so much, friend. Thank you. I know you do, Aunt B. And again, I'm just trying to encourage you friends to try and live into a state of play. To try and be in a state of play instead of this seriousness that we have, implemented on ourselves in our life, like, oh, this is the end of the world, and now this is the end of the world, and this is ruining my life, and this is absolutely unacceptable, and this is atrocious, and how dare this person say this and this thing. When we try and just see ourselves as play, it makes it a lot easier to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves and with others. Hold on, did I just join? Yes, Isaac. Now, dude, even trying to make jokes, my brain stops me in its tracks. It's like, no, dude, you cannot say stuff like that. You cannot, you cannot do that. Like, sure, it might be funny, and people who understand might laugh, but the people that don't understand might very much not laugh. Oh man, I feel this so hard. Thank you so much. I feel it as well. I feel it completely as well. But don't be too hard on yourself. Work in progress. Try and play. We're doing so well, friend. Thank you. Keep going. Imagine how many ways CRISPR technology can go wrong. One day, a fly with a gene key to double size each generation escapes a lab and gets eaten by a lizard. Jurassic Park. The end. Unfortunately, Azimutton, like I'm very optimistic about the power of CRISPR. Like people don't realize with this whole COVID thing, we have gone from like analog medicine to digital medicine with like the advent of RNA, and that is technically CRISPR technology where we're basically using gene expressions like bits of DNA codes to tell your body like keys which locks they have to unlock, right? Like that is what we're doing right now. And unfortunately, you would never be able. I'm saying unfortunately because it would be pretty cool to see a fly, the size of a dog. I mean, it would be pretty cool if I have a shotgun in my hands. But I'm sorry, that sounds extremely brutal. I'm just imagining like flies and the way they come and sit on my body. And then I'm imagining a fly the size of a dog. And then instantly my imagination wants me to have a shotgun. And it just, both sides of the infinity. But but unfortunately, we don't have enough oxygen in our air for that thing to actually survive. The oxygen concentration would have to be a lot higher for it to be able to actually breathe. Mel just popped into a Michael Bay movie with the exploding sun flare. Yeah! Yeah, exactly. Like I feel just this like beam of light. The light of the sun reaching all the way to America. Imagine, okay, so there are a dirty side of propane tanks, and your dad forced it on you, and you in your infinite wisdom, decided to be okay with it. My fucking hero. That's not the point, friend. It's not the point. The point was about seeing things in the state of play, right? It's not, oh, I'm so great for not making. No, no, that's not what it's about. It's about seeing these things happen, like things being said, things being done that we feel, that we see as atrocious, that we see as absolutely unacceptable, and then to laugh at it, to be like, yeah, of course, because I feel this way, because I don't want this specific thing to happen. Of course, that's what life is going to throw at me, just to see, am I going to be able to hop away from this as well? Then it brings me back to another moment of like difficulty, of injustice, etc., etc. And then I have to be the one that chooses how to react. That's what I'm saying, friend. Not, it's an example. Thank you, though. Thank you, friend. Sending you calm, friend. It was the 8 month boat ride it took to reach him. Then it must be, it must be. Let It Be by the Beatles softly plays in the background. Seriously, whenever you see a troll, imagine it's directly. Ima- I think it's Imagine it's directed towards Putin, others in power, anonymous that say they would ruin the internet experience, not yours. Ozzy Mutton, I think I get what you're trying to say, but the way that I see troll comments is just someone that has a certain set of infinity that they've experienced, and within this set of infinity, they've noticed that they can get attention if they react in a certain way, right? If they bring a certain energy, and it's just in showing them that they can receive loving kindness no matter what energy they bring, and to try and perpetuate that instead of leaning into the reactive nature to just be with them. Who the hell is Shannon? Shannon is a friend we have. Where do you live? I live in South Africa, friend. She's a beautiful woman on the YouTube side that she is. I'm trying to connect with this shit you're full of. Clever name I made. Please, and please, like, continue trying, friend. And I'm not encouraging you to continue trying to connect with the shit I'm full of because it's something that's going to make me feel any better, but just because it's something that might make you feel better, friend. Right? Like that is what I want. I don't want for me anything. Not really. Like I'm fortunate enough to have food to eat and I can drink water and I'm stable enough to, be supported by gravity right now. What I want for you is a more beautiful, more joyous experience, with less need, with less expectation, with more understanding of the divinity that is within you. So you trying to connect, shows that you know that there is something to connect with. You're crazy. I like it. I like you. Discworld. Discworld is the series name, but there was a specific book. Like it was Christian's book, and I started reading the start of it, but I didn't finish it. Oh, maybe I have to ask Christian. If only when he was here. It's a standalone book, kind of a homage to Asimov. I'm not, I think we might be talking about different books, Ozzy, but the Terry Pratchett little fractal I had in my head, I had to share. The sun shining behind you is so beautiful. Hey, how about we take a collective breath today, friends? Let's take another one. One more. And as you take this next breath, breathe into your heart space. Just to acknowledge that your heart is beating in this moment. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Like a frequency that's constantly being inputted into this world. And that frequency is you. And that frequency has been you for as long as you've existed. And that frequency will be you after you stop existing. Ebbs and flows, ups and downs, you as the experiencer of that. Thank you so much for that encouragement, friend. I try not to get too connected with the poop I'm full of. Makes it easier to say goodbye. What a good point that is. So, like on that note, I feel like this can be another way to say that. It is the mark of an intelligent mind to be able to entertain an idea without accepting it as fact. Okay. So, sure, you can be like, oh, look at this shit. And then you can put the shit in the ground and let it feed the flowers instead of holding onto it ceaselessly, imagining trying to polish it into a diamond, you know? So it's the mark of an intelligent mind to be able to entertain an idea without accepting it as fact. I'm not telling you these things because I believe they're 100% true. I'm sharing my experience, and you, friends, are allowed to elicit an experience from me sharing mine with you. And that's what I want, friend. Just for you to have that experience. You may be busting out laughing. So freaking in tune. When I hear a joke, knock knock, I eat mop. Hilarious, clever. Like I'm laughing on the inside, friend. Like really loud. Like I'm like rolling on the floor laughing. Oh goodness, I just had an aneurysm laughing so hard, dude. Like I'm bursting veins. Oh goodness, I'm turning into goo. Oh goodness, I'm like dripping through the cracks right now. What have you done, friend? What have you done to me? Oh, there we go. You know, like it dripped through the cracks, and then all of those little drops started consolidating at the bottom of those cracks, and then there's me again. Thank you. Consequences and or effects of my actions are what I take serious, but I'm absolutely keeping my humor and being as playful and understanding as possible. I'm sure you will be. Loved your dance stream yesterday. Me and Bobby jammed through the kitchen. Thank you so much, Auntie. I was like really having a good time dancing. Like I even watched the dancing stream as well. And like to me, it's still I feel like I'm watching someone else. It's so odd. It's certainly an imbalance act, isn't it, on B? I think you're doing a great job from all at all better job at it all than you think. Thank you for the love, friend. Just don't even worry. You're so right. And exactly what babies and toddlers and children do. Trolls are hurt kids who are stuck in their time of trauma as a child. Exactly, friend. So, like, I try and be as compassionate and loving as I can with those individuals because I know that they're not reacting that way from a place of awareness, right? It's from a place of unawareness. They're like, this stuff is within them and they can see it in a way, but they're seeing an incomplete image. And then they're expressing that image over and over again into the world, showing the world what's inside of them, not realizing that they're doing that. And then upon them showing that to me, all I can try and be is kind, you know, like, I see you, friend. I see you. I'm here with you. I'm trying to be as present as I can be, trying to be as loving as I can be, and then hoping that that might be the thing that they need. There is a new salt with bound oxygen sold in pharmacies. It reacts with water in your nose and throat and expands, and people look like they have been diving for a very long time and just broke surface. Okay, Ozzy. Uh, okay. Is that a? I don't know. If it's sold in pharmacies, I'm guessing it has some sort of medical benefit. So, like, do people use this compound, this extra oxygen-bound salt molecule, you know, for a reason, or is it just to look like they came out from the surface? Like, I don't understand. Hello to you, Dandy. Thank you for joining us. Hello, melted ones. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Even better now that you're joining us, brother Thad and Niner. Thank you for joining us, man. How are you doing? What do you do for a living? How do you afford to live in South Africa? So I did this thing, you know, called getting born. And that was like, I think like one of my like highest moments, like a high success, you know, like I was like, yeah, sick, alive. And then I like grew up with a family and they were like willing to feed me and stuff, you know, which is pretty lit. They would like even give me a bed to sleep in, which was also pretty cool. And then, you know, when I turned 18, I moved out and I started working as a salesman, like barely earning enough money to survive, refusing, like with a fury in my heart, refusing to take a single cent from my parents because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this for myself. I'm going to show the world. I'm going to show my dad how capable I am. And I did that for a year, completely living by myself. Didn't take a single cent. And I'm still proud of that. And then I moved to China, and I worked as an English teacher in China. And then I came back home, and I've been home since. And like I talked to my parents about this. I wanted to start a business of my own, and they were willing to support me. They're willing to give me food and a place to sleep, which is very nice of them. On top of that, this is my job now, friend. And on top of this job that I'm doing, I'm also becoming a certified yogi, yoga teacher, and I'm going to start giving yoga classes as well to try and make more of a living for myself. Thank you for your care and your attention. I appreciate it, communism. 8 minute lag. You run slower than the cat hiking through Japan. Pretty much clever. Like that is the way it be sometimes, friend. Because we are infinitely in this moment, even though this moment has been in the past. We're still in this moment. It's like a trip. We get to be in the middle of the past and the future. Like we are in the future right now, from the perspective of the text in chat. But we're in the moment from the perspective of where we are saying these words right now, but the comments come from the past. So there is this, combination of all of the sides. My kings and queens over 18, hot sauce is the best. It can be, friend, especially if you like your food a little bit more spicy. This, I've been in awe by the rays. Thank you, friend. Hey, Uncle Becky would say, hee ha! Yeah! Absolutely. Ozzy, there is a train station in Japan dedicated to a shrine for a cat that still lives there. I'm pretty sure the cat died, and then they made the shrine for the cat. But I do know what you're talking about. Hey, Shannon sharing love in the Reddit as well. But good. Woo-hoo. I ain't heard a good who all day. And B would shout, thank you for the love. I still use the napkin after eating the donut, even though I can fold it to show the earth is shaped like a donut. Ozzy, like I appreciate you, friend, but I feel like you're not giving me any fractals that I can co-create with you with, right? I'm trying to though. Hey Lisa, thank you, friend. Love you. I hope you've been doing okay. I'm sorry I haven't messaged you back yet. You have been on my mind though, sending you love and light. And ironically, Shannon, I feel we do that sometimes. Like we postpone answering a message, and then we spend so much time thinking about that person, tripping out about the fact that we haven't sent that message again, that we inadvertently send love to them constantly and ceaselessly until we eventually send that message. An adorable little image. Search here. What do you think about electricity, the metaverse, and do you think their plan is to disconnect us from reality? I think electricity is the flow of electrons, through a medium or through a conductive source, and it can be generated by the sun or by nuclear induction, or like nuclear creating steam spinning turbines turning induction motors producing electrons. So like electricity, I think, is just an energy, it's just a form of energy, right, on the most fundamental level. And then the metaverse is just another way, in my opinion, to interact with the internet. At least that's the way that I'm trying to see it. And you can ask for yourself, Search here, in this moment, do you feel more disconnected or more connected with reality? And just to kind of extrapolate that to the idea of the metaverse, like I don't believe you can be disconnected from reality because you are reality. You are the ultimate elicitor of reality. Like there is no reality as you know it without you. Understand? So no, I don't think they're trying to disconnect us from reality. Maybe people will disconnect themselves from this reality and they'll get completely enthralled in the digital space, but there's still going to be the presence, the awareness, choosing to do that. And there's no life more, greater in majesty or significance than any other life. So that's also going to be a life, that's also going to be an experience. I don't necessarily think I want it, but it's going to be one. Forgot to mention the Toddler's most dearest friend. Thank you. I imagine it used to learn people to teach people to breathe naturally after trauma or surgery. Yeah, it's used to. Oh, the salt thing? That's interesting. Oh well, I guess. I don't see how that works, but I guess. Love you. I do plan on going to the country park on this gorgeous day. Spending time in nature is calling me. I hope you take extra care today as well. Please, please, please do that, Shannon. Japan is such a great place. There's a show called Old Enough. I'm hooked on it right now. Little 2 year olds completing big chores. So cute. 2 year olds. Chores. You know what? I can imagine that must be cute actually, Eden. Seeing them like trying to interact with the world from that, perspective. It's 80 here too, literally 80 today. Supposed to snow probably next week. Our pool is open and then we'll close. Feeling lucky for the sun. Big dogs, flies. Whoa, 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 whoa. Flies as big as dogs are terrifying. Right, Shannon? We need the shotguns. Feeling lucky for the sun and the softness of a warm kitty belly on the porch. Life is a great playground. Oh, isn't it, Brother Bear? So great. Literally 80 today. Supposed to snow. Okay, 82. I'm all for it. Going to the country park today and walk the trails. Please, Shannon, do share with us tomorrow what you felt. If you learned anything. I'm wondering why I'm drinking out of the bottle. Like, bro, why not use Ermias Blur? Sounds like a nice way to spend the day. Zoom in on the map on your phone until it looks flat like a napkin. Scroll up until you were back. Scroll left until you were back. Now fold the napkin to a tube and then a ring. So you do know that the Earth has a donut shape around it, right? Like you don't really have to fold the Earth into a donut because the Earth has a donut. You have a donut of energy around, and you can call it a torus technically, but there is literally these magnetic waves coming out of our planet, coming back into itself, right? Like a donut. If you were to look above it, it would have a hole, and then these holes would like feeding energy into itself. And I believe we have that inside of us, as a heart, as a mind, as a being, and we can have these interactions with our torus fields around one another. So I feel you're like almost on the right track there, friend. Mr. 7117 saying, imagine a metaverse in a very advanced version. It will kill you physically. Sure. Sure, friend. If you want to die physically, nothing can be done to you that you don't want. And I believe you have chosen all of it. Even though it can be a little bit of a yikes thing to say, you're like, what the fuck, Mel? All of this traumas? You think I chose this? I chose mine, apparently, like extreme depression, extreme senses of worthlessness, extreme, feelings of lack, extreme moments of despair. And now because I've went through those experiences, I get to be who I am today. You get to be who you are today. And if people want to kill themselves physically to experience a state of digital existence, then they can do that. That is the thing about divinity, friend. You are powerful enough to do anything, quite literally anything. I believe it's going to be more important for us than ever to take care of our physical health when we start integrating into these technological realms as well, because we'll know with more certainty, with more accuracy, with more understanding, the connection between physical bodily health and mental health. And as a result of physical bodily health, mental health, the extension of spiritual health as well. Thank you for the inspiration. We're talking smelling salts. I don't know if they're smelling salt. They might be, actually. Nicely put. Thank you, Sir Chair. I hope you feel into it, friend. I don't believe in fear. I just don't believe in fear. Like, I've tried to, but believing in fear doesn't serve me. Believing in love is the one thing that I actually feel, carries me forward. So let's lean into that instead, friend. Besides, I'm like 5'1". I don't know how tall that is. Like 100 pounds. I imagine how funny I'd look next to you. You probably hit your hips. baby Shannon. Like I'm 178 centimeters tall, so like just shy of 6 feet. A little bit. Shannon, never apologize. I'm guessing you're talking to Shannon. I would love you. I would love you as you are. Your message will come when it's supposed to. In the meantime, I'll enjoy. I'll enjoy you here. Thank you, Lisa, for being in such a state of understanding and love. Me too. I'm going to the porch today. The heat of open arms. I hope you have a restful day today after your adventures yesterday. There's a video from Paul Check, The Dangers of Living in Two Realities. I think you'll like it. Paul Check, The Danger of Living in Two Realities. I think I probably would, friend. I'm imagining it is going to be him exploring the understanding of non-duality, and I have also consolidated an understanding of non-duality, and I've consolidated this understanding in the perspective of duality, of infinity. So, an infinity symbol, you know, has both dualities within it, but it is a unity. It is a oneness. But within that oneness, within that circle twisted itself into that infinity symbol. So it's still that continuous loop, but that continuous loop has shifted itself into opposites. And then from those opposites, it gets to see itself in a reference manner. Then it splits into three so that it can have those infinities looking at one another and then have a point of reference to know how the infinities are looking at one another, and then from that the rest of the experience that is possible to be had. But that ultimate oneness, that like one drop into the infinity, seeing yourself as that masculine and feminine, the person that gets so angry that they're livid, and the person that can be so loving and joyous with a puppy or with a loved one. The poor pupper has a seizure yesterday. Goodness, I'm gonna read that now, Eden. I'm so sorry. It's an understanding that I believe has helped me to see myself as this side of this infinite universe, right? Like when I drink water, I take a sip of water and I just drank billions, billions of water molecules. And those billions of water molecules are going to become a part of my body because my body is mostly water as well. Like that is a side of like you are so infinitely large in comparison to these molecules, and yet you're so infinitely small in comparison to the planetary bodies, right? So it is this recognition of you as that crossing point, that point of intersection into the physical as the spiritual. And you're that, you're I, as the other side of that infinity, friend. So thank you for sharing that with me as well, and for allowing me to share back with you. My poor pupper had a seizure yesterday. We'll be off to the vet tomorrow to do some tests. Started giving her CBD oil already. Send some good vibes to my pup, please. Please give us a name, Eden. She's Corey's precious pup. Please do send us a name so I can, send even more intentional energy. Thank you, Eden, for asking us to send some love as well. Experience. Precious pup. Live talk yesterday as well. Thank you. I unfortunately I joined the live talk just as it was finished on B, but I was able to at least send some love. Willow, there we go. I don't know if this is a willow, but I see a flower that has like these little, not tentacles, maybe like almost like very thin and elongated leaves on the very center of it, having this like Fibonacci sequence little mini spiral in the middle, and then having small little white petals, coming out of it. And it's like kind of slightly turning, and the middle part stays stationary as the rest of it turns around it. Sending willow love. Thank you so much for allowing us to, Eden. Understanding, you're such a beautiful friend, albeit for a moment. A moment is all that's necessary. Who needs tears? That's the thing. Like it only takes a moment. It takes a single thought for you to be united again. If you're out there in the world, you can elicit this loving response that we share with one another just by thinking about it. To think like, Melt is probably streaming right now and sharing love. You just had love shared with you. just by eliciting that thought. So thank you, friends, eternally, just for the love you share with yourself. I didn't even put it together, but it was you. So nice to hear from you. Beautiful insight. You've got me thinking. This is the way, friend. Keep thinking, please. Sending your pupper so much love. The talk was hosted by Mindful. I know, and I was like so excited to actually hear about it as well. And then I was like, oh, just just late enough, just early enough to be late, if you will. So sorry to hear this, Eden. Sending love and light. Thank you. I'll pass on the love to her. Please do. Please do. And in this moment, friends, I appreciate you for being willing to recognize yourself, to see the play of life, to see yourself as life playing, and to try and be as joyous, to be as light, to be as childish, even in that process. The nature walk feels like a warm hug from your old friend. Sending you, friends, all infinite hugs. Thank you for joining me, for sharing this moment with me today, and for allowing yourself to play. Have a good one, friends. See you again tomorrow. Thank you for the imagery, Isaac. I welcome that hug. Hugs to you. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Isaac. Beloved friends. I'll see you again tomorrow.